Yeah, I think we're trying to build like a more self-sufficient lifestyle here.
Yeah. We can put down every form of house that we want. The only rule is that the houses have to be movable.
So this is my dome house. It's up in the north of the Netherlands, and welcome in.
Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're at a tiny house community in the Netherlands and we're meeting up with Sanne and Jonah.
They're doing incredible things here on the land, and we get a full tour of Sanne's dome house, which you're definitely going to want to stick around for. And we hope that you enjoy the video. Let us know in the comments what you think, and if you want to see more content like this, then make sure you're subscribed. Back to it.
So my name is Sonna. And I live in the north of the Netherlands, in the tiny house that you see in the back. And this is part of a larger eco community that we're part of.
My name is Johan. A few years ago I arrived here with Sanne. In the beginning I lived together with Sanne in the dome house, but Sanne is working from, she's got her own company, working from home, and especially during Zoom and Teams meetings and stuff like that, I felt like, hey, I need some space for myself. Now I'm more or less full-time living in the fire truck and visiting Sanne in the dome house. We're in the north of Netherlands. It's part of an local experiment. We like to call it a living lab. We're working together with the municipality, and what we are doing here is trying to build a community in the largest sense of that word.
Yeah, so one of the things that I find interesting about this place, that it's not like the community isn't only the community members that live on the land, but it extends to the volunteers that we have as well. So it's really nice. We have people that live here in tiny houses off the grid, which is interesting as well. We only have tap water, but next to that we're cut out of everything, which comes with challenges. But really the community is the heart of everything, and with the community we take care of the land, which was all farming grounds. The soil was really polluted. It was just like plain grass, lots of nasty stuff in there, and we're slowly transforming it into like a little bit of an oasis for us, but also for the animals and the insects, and really restoring that sense of like the social part, but also like nature, and working with that.
We arrived here about 3 years ago. I did live off-grid already for more than 14 years, I guess, before this. So for me, the lifestyle was kind of a normal lifestyle. I'm not really used to living in a normal house, so to speak. So for me, it's quite normal.
So for me, it was really, when we first met, this was really new for me, like alternative living. And at some point we were like, you especially wanted to go back to this lifestyle. And I was like, yeah, why not? Why not do that?
I think for Sanne it's really the community part.
And more of the greenery.
Yeah.
Like I have a background in herbalism. Yeah. I coach people in nature. So I love like working with nature and finding the similarities between what nature does and what people do, and what, for example, a specific kind of plant does in the ecosystem, and then what that does for us. Like, really, I geek out on that.
Yeah.
So this is a community land. It's about 1 to 2 hectares. It used to be old farming ground. So you see 2 large sheds, and we're really transforming the terrain. So this was old farming grounds, lots of grass. So this is designed now as a permaculture landscape with all like the facets, like water, some height differences. We're also having a little bit of a vegetable plot as well, lots of edible species, to make it a vibrant landscape.
So the property over here, we can rent it from the municipality, the city of Leeuwarden, for I don't know how long, but for now we can at least. So we got room for 7 houses over here. At the moment we live with the 3 of us. We're in the process of finding new inhabitants for this wonderful place. The agreement that we have with the municipality is that we can put down every form or shape of house that we want. The only rule is that the houses have to be movable. If you want to live in a dome or in a van or on a boat, As long as it's on a trailer, everything is possible. So that's the fun part. Yeah.
So we've got 2 community buildings. This is the largest one. This is an old farming shed, but we use it to like store materials, tools, and so on. We're off the grid, so we heat the houses with a wood stove, and we've got wood for that. And also in our community building, one of them has a wood stove as well, so that we can relatively keep things warm in winter when we're working on the land.
Well, living off grid means a lot of composting. We don't have like a service that's coming over here to collect our waste. So we try to manage that as much as possible. So everything from the kitchen waste, fruit, vegetables, stuff like that, we compost it over here with the use of worms. So it's called wormenbak in Dutch, but it's like a worm factory, I guess. So they help us with composting. The compost from over here we use in the vegetable garden because it's just kitchen waste. Then also we have our own waste. We're also composting that, but we're not using it for our vegetable garden.
So this is the piece of the land that we design as like more of a vegetable plot. One of the goals that we want is to be more like self-sufficient, self-sustainable, and be able to grow our own food. But this is really a slow process. So we're really building the soil. This was old farming ground. So we're actually tending more to the soil and to the people than that we're actually growing vegetables. That will come, but that will take time because nature has its own pace. So our volunteers, they come from all walks of life. And what they get out of it is really personal. So some like to learn more about permaculture, how to be more self-sufficient or off-grid living, or they just like to have people to hang out with. And for some it can also be like a way that they can come back to either work because they've fallen ill, burnout, things like that, or just a place where they can really be themselves. So we're in front of one of the other community buildings. This is really the place where we hang out together, where we have a drink, eat together, and we also have a greenhouse on the back end. And this is also the place that we have some technical things, like we store the community batteries here, but we also have composting toilet and a shower. So it's not really living that rough.
No, it's
actually pretty comfortable.
Yeah. We have solar panels, but we also have, how you call it, a solar boiler, I guess, so a water heating system on the roof. Yeah. So in the summertime, our hot water comes from the sun, and in the wintertime...
Yeah, we can either run it on gas the wood stove. We could also.
So, we're working with decomposting toilets. Always a bit scary for people, but it's not that difficult. What we do is we separate urine and the poo. It ends up in bins, and every week one of us has to clean this stuff. We're taking it outside, and then we're storing the poo part of it for 2 years in containers, and after those 2 years we're storing it open for another 2 years, and after 4 years it's beautiful compost. And that compost, your manure, we use it for not for the fruit and the vegetables, but for the normal trees, and it works perfect.
Everyone loves a good shower, right? So we have one. This is kind of just like a regular shower, but we heat this either through gas, through the solar system, or through the burning of wood. The funny thing is this, like, we're not connected to a sewage system. So this directly goes into like our own water. This makes you very conscious about the products that you use, how much water that you use. So this really lets you experience that you're really part of that ecosystem and that you have to like treat it with care. Yeah, so this is our communal space, and you see the large tables, we can sit here together, and we also have a nice kitchen that we can use to cook with and to like make coffee and tea. Really a space to hang out. We also got a wood stove, but in summers we usually spend just time outside, but it's really nice to have this place to So we got a greenhouse here.
Well, it is a greenhouse. We're not depending on it for it would be nice. We're not depending on it for our daily meals. It's more like an educational thing. But then again, everything that grows here becomes soup or becomes greens on our sandwich. That's the nice part of it. We're not depending on it, but everything that comes out of here is bonus. I think I am out of the rat race, kind of. For the last years, I've been living on savings, because for me it was difficult to combine this with a day job, because I think I work around 7 days a week over here, and you really need to invest all that time to keep things running. So yes, I am out of the rat race for now. Will be in a year, I don't know, but for now I am. And you are?
Yeah, so I'm still working. I have my own company, and for the others living here as well, because we still have to pay rent and of course like things like insurance. So it's really about finding that balance between like spending as much time here and tending to the land, tending to each other, and then there needs to be a little bit of income. You have to be able to sustain yourself.
Yeah, it's most definitely a cheaper lifestyle. Yeah, we are lucky that we can rent the place over here, the property, and we don't have to pay extreme amounts of money for it. And we can easily pay it with the three of us, with Gea and Sanne and I myself. And we have still room for more people, so then things get cheaper. So if you got a full working community with the max amount of people over here, then our lifestyle is getting cheaper and cheaper. So that's one thing. Also, when you have more time off, not going to work, then life is becoming cheaper, because then you have the time to like pick stinging nettles and stuff like that. So then you more often you make your own soup or use herbs from the garden, and by doing so your expenses, you're cutting your expenses. So life is getting cheaper.
Yeah, I think we're trying to build like a more self-sufficient lifestyle here, where you're able to eat more off the land. But that takes time and dedication as well. So it's really about finding a slower pace within that. But it's definitely cheaper, like housing in the Netherlands as well, same as the UK, it's crazy expensive. And we got to live like this, which is really unique. So this is my house. This is the tiny dome house. It is a 1970s house that's consists of 12 parts. It's really interesting design. It's round, has lots of windows, and it lives on this community ground, so it's really connected to that, but it's nice to have a place that you can retreat back a little bit as well. So I guess that you're wondering how much I paid for this, which I totally get. So we got the house out of marketplace, and it was actually pretty cheap, so 3,000 euros. But we had to like get a paint job done, and also like the polyester had a little bit of damage. We also installed new windows. There's this platform underneath, and of course like the electricity with the power station and so on. So I would say without the electricity, we cost around like 12,000 euros, but with the electricity I think the total sum would be around 15,000 euros, which is actually pretty affordable if you compare it to another living situation. For now, this is the seating area. You're looking to like the bathroom window actually, and you can see there the gas that we have. So the house has its own kitchen and own shower as well. So we also got solar panels here and a shed with the wood that we use for the heating in the winter, and also for a little bit of cooking. It's really nice to have that close to the house. So this is quite the collection of solar panels. It is sufficient for most weeks, except for the 10 darkest weeks in the year. Then we have an additional diesel generator to generate some extra electricity. So every house on the land has its own setup. So you can choose how many solar panels, how big capacity batteries you want to have. So this is for the house to, for example, power the lighting, but also my laptop. I work from home. So the aim for being off-grid is really about like seeing what is possible to still live like a fairly modern life, but then really in tune with nature. So I love experimenting with it. I love learning about like solar systems, and I see like, are they actually like sustainable, because it takes a lot of material to make them, but then we don't have an electricity bill. How does that pan out? So every house on the land has to be like, it has to be movable or removable, And this structure is kind of in between. You see that it has a platform which is connected to the concrete slab below, but it actually, you see it here, 2 panels, and contains of 12 panels, the actual house, and that should be, I should be able to get that out, like broken into pieces again in about 4 to 6 hours. And this structure below it was really built to last. So if we, for example, would move the house, this could be like an activity platform. You could make it maybe a little bit of a yoga deck. The house is like, I'm really blessed with large windows and there's sunscreens in there now, because the house is being built facing the south. This is the south, to catch the sun and providing extra warmth in winter. But then it gets, of course, extra warmth in summer. So the house has a very large window on top, and you see the pipe of the wood stove. So this is my dome house. It's up in the north of the Netherlands, and welcome in. So as we come in, we enter the hallway. This is really the place where I, for example, store my shoes, store some tools, clothing, and I've got the smallest walk-in closet, which stores all my my clothing, which isn't that much, but it's nice to have like layers and things to like wear when you're working in the garden. And this is really the place like where we can store that all away. So this is the main living space, and it includes almost everything from a bed to a kitchen area, and of course the wood stove that I told you about. You can also see the large windows, so it's always nice to like watch the birds and see a little bit of the wildlife going on. Yeah, so this is the bed. It's a raised bed with a lot of storage underneath, which is really handy in a tiny house. I wanted to be able to like close it off and have it a little bit as a separate space, so you can close the curtains and then you have a little bit of a bedroom idea. So this is really the electrical heart of the home. We've got battery tanks and then also like a power station that powers the house. So it powers both the light. You can use it to charge like phones, laptops, and so on. So this is a compressor fridge, which is really energy efficient. And it stores about like a couple of days worth of food, which is really nice, especially in summer. Then we have enough electricity. So in winter, just store it outside because it's cold enough. And also because we're living quite rurally, you have a lot of like rats and mouses and want to keep that out of the house. So we store a lot of the food also in like boxes like these. So more storage. This is also the place where I store like some firewood, especially in winter. I want to dry it out a little bit more. And in summer and spring, this gets transformed into like a little bit of a growing station where especially like these young seedlings do really well. So that's what's happening here. So this is a relatively small wood stove, but it fuels the house, it warms the house perfectly. And it has some neat features. So it actually has an oven in the top and you can store a little bit more wood underneath. But this really keeps it nice and cozy, and you can do so many things at once with it, right? You can put your kettle on and your water will warm. You can bake your pizzas. Like, it's so efficient and so much fun to use. So this is the seating area. Like, you can sit, hang out. I sometimes work here as well with a laptop. So this is the kitchen and like a nice table to either like have a meal or to work. And this really stores a lot. So it is just a fully equipped kitchen. It has a water filter system that we use to get like tap water. Essentially it's just running water. And on a stove, I also got like this little like camping setup that I can use to bake on the stove as well. So for example, cakes and bread and everything. And below here, there's a lot of extra storage for pots and pans, but also for food, like to store that as well. And a lot of herbs. I'm an herbalist, and we dry a lot of herbs on the land as well. And when we have guests over at the community, we give them teas that actually are growing on the land. So there are a lot of dried herbs as well. in a tiny house, you use every bit of space that you can. So there's more storage up there. So this is actually like a bathroom. It is fully equipped. So we have communal toilet and a communal shower, but I also have a shower in here that I can like run. It has hot water as well. We can, with the gas, we can make hot water. And then again, like the same composting toilet that we have in a communal building. So this is really nice to like at least have that option to choose whatever toilet or shower I want to use. We've got a really nice skylight which offers a lot of light, especially with the screens in the window. But you'll notice that it's getting pretty warm in the house as well. And ideally you would, because warm travels up, you would want something in the top to open up. But that was like structurally it wasn't really an option or a really expensive option. So what we did is, the screens are really helpful, but we implemented something that's a technique that's used in earth chips, for example, and that's that we have a pipe here, and it comes with a computer fan. It's not active in this moment, but it actually takes cold air from underneath the platform, and if you put a fan on it, it works just like an air conditioning. So it actually gets out the cold water, the cold wind, and it works brilliantly well. So this is like a very natural, almost passive kind of air conditioning thing, which is, I think, a really nice feature of the house. I wouldn't have it any other way. I really love like living life in this way and see what's possible and see what's not, and what you can do yourself, and how you can make things comfortable, even if it's outside the norm, so to say. So I love living this life. I love how it brings me together with community, with nature, and it helps you not to take anything for granted. I think a lot of people would want to dabble into this kind of lifestyle. I don't think it's for everyone, but if you're keen on like experimenting a little bit and sometimes roughing it a little bit even, but it's very limited access to places like these. Municipalities are really like holding back. They find it a little bit scary. So that's one of the things that we want to, this is really a barrier that we want to break, to see
it's
like
one of our goals.
To like see it as a living lab and see that it might offer a solution to like the housing issues we have, and also the issues we have around electricity. So with that, we hope to create a little bit of a movement, but it's really slow. So I feel the Netherlands is very similar to the UK.
Yeah, loads of younger people, they're in their 30s still living at home because there isn't any housing. And when we are talking to third parties or like the municipality, it's always like, no, we don't have, there's not enough electricity, there's not, houses need to be on the grid. And what we are trying to show is that there are alternatives. So
where you can still have, like, we have a laptop, we have electricity, we can shower, like we're like fairly normal people living a fairly normal life, but with a couple of adjustments, you can live like this, and this is actually achievable for everyone, if the municipalities.
And that's a bit of a dream of ours, that that we can take this concept and like pick it up and set it somewhere 10 kilometers away, and it works in the same way. But that's a bit of a battle. I think we all forgot how to live in a community. We used to live in an apartment. I didn't know who my neighbors were. Perhaps I didn't even care. I came home from work. I went inside. They went inside. So learning again how to live in a community it's a challenge, but that's something we learn daily. A lot of people say, oh, it's nice, but I couldn't do that. I couldn't live off grid, or they have like, oh, it's too difficult. And we always say, oh, it ain't that difficult. You can start with a small solar panel in your garden, charge a power bank, stuff like that. Or have fun in a weekend, see if you can do without your gas stove or without electricity. Now it feels like it is either in a house full appliances and everything on it, or it is completely the other end of the segment with us living the way we do. And we always try to invite people like, oh, just try little steps. We can do it with less. For now, it's perfect. We're still building this community. It's all fun. But if it isn't fun anymore, we're going to do something else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the project, I hope it will stay here for eternity. But then for us, or for communities in general, I think it's good to have like some people following each other up, to have some dynamics in that, like new people coming in and other people going out, because otherwise there is a tendency where people just like, we've tried that, didn't work, and that doesn't really contribute to the community. So we always say to each other, like, if you've done this and you learned about this and you learned what you needed to learn, then please go and implement it on another place, because it's needed there. And hopefully then we can contribute to spreading this lifestyle and more people being able to live off grid, closer to nature, and so on. Yeah, so if you like to tour and you like to get to know more maybe, or maybe even visit us, you can find us on Workaway, but also on Instagram at The Blue Plates. We'll make sure to include that in the description, because that's hard to spell. And also we've got a website, www.theblueplates.nl. If you want, feel free to reach out. We're happy to see if we can host you. So if you want to follow me personally, you can find me at Running with Sheep on Instagram.
And if you want to follow me personally, you can find me at Jonah Builds on Instagram. And thank you for being here, guys. Awesome.
Yes.
Alright guys, thanks for tuning in there, and a big thanks to Sonna and Johan for sharing everything with us and inviting us over to, if I can pronounce it right, the Blue Plates.
Make sure to check them out on the socials. The links will be down in the description below, and we'll also leave the links to the tiny house community if you want to check that out. And also, if you're interested, give them a message. And we hope you enjoyed the video. Let us know in the comments what you thought, and if you want to see more content like this, then make sure you're subscribed. See you in the next one.